Hi class, I hope you're all having a great day. Let's make it even better by having another math lesson. What do you say about that? This is our second day of notes for this chapter of chapter 6. The first section of notes was titled 6.1 through 6.3, so we did a lot of different things on those first three sections. And now our second day of notes is going to be doing more work with what we've been talking about. This is going to be section 6.2 and 6.3, the second day of it, so day 2. So what we've been talking about is we've been talking about parabolas, parabolic functions. Today we're going to do a lot more work with them in our graphing calculator. So make sure you have your graphing calculators out as we do this. As you can see on the notes for today, it says at the top, use calculators to graph each equation and find roots. Graph and find the x-intercepts using the table. First estimate, then find where y equals 0 on the table. So what we have here, class, is, as you know, this is going to be a parabola because it's an x squared term. This is written in standard form. So if I wanted to, I could factor this. I can find the axis of symmetry by going a negative b over 2a. I could then substitute to find my vertex, so on and so forth. I could do all that stuff. But for this one, all I want to do is I want to put it on my graphing calculator and find my zeros. You guys know also that it's going to be a parabola that goes up because a is a positive number. So there's a lot of things that you know about this before even doing any work just by looking at it. But let's put it into our graphing calculator. So instead of a 0 here, when we put into our graphing calculator, we consider this to be y. So y equals x squared plus 6x plus 8. So you're going to press y equals, and it was x squared plus 6x plus 8. And now we press graph. And there's what our parabola looks like. So if we look at this one, the directions say, first estimate where the roots are. So where do you think, just by looking at the graph, where does it look like this one crosses the x-axis at? If I were to look, I would say, well, -1, here's -2. Looks like it crosses at -2. -3, -4. It looks like it crosses at a -2 and a -4. I'm just estimating. It could be 2.1 or 2.3 or something like that, a -2.3. I don't know exactly. So right now I'm just estimating. To find out exactly, it says use the table. So the table is that second graph button. So second graph, which is the table. What I want to find, class, is I want to find when x is a number, the y value is 0. I want to know right here, I know that my y value is going to be 0 because I'm not going up or down at all. So what x value is that? So look when y is 0. Second table. When y is 0, oh, there it is. When y is 0, x is a -2. Which that's just what we thought, isn't it? We thought that this point right here was at a -2. So -2, 0 is where one of my zeros is. And the other one we thought would be at a -4. We said that we think this one is at a -4. So let's look by going to our table. At -2 I have a 0. And at -4 I have a 0. Right here, y equals 0. We have a 0 at x equals a -2, and then we also have a 0 at x equals a -4. So that's what I want you to write down in your notes. Solve each quadratic equation, and solve means get x all by itself. So at x equals a -2, and x equals a -4. That's all you need to do for these ones. It's pretty straightforward. They get slightly more difficult as the quadratic equation changes slightly, such as on this one. We want to get a 0 on this side, so let us add 4. X squared minus 4x plus a 4 equals 0. This is what you're going to put into your graphing calculator. So open that up again. Y equals And the function that we're putting in is x squared minus 4x plus 4. X squared minus 4x plus 4. We graph this one. So if we look at this one, where does this one, just estimating right now, where does this one appear to cross the x-axis at? Here's my x-axis, and it looks like, I don't know, it looks like it could be at like a positive 1.5, or you know, I guess it could be a lot of different things. To know for sure, we're going to have to check on our table. So if we go second table, if you look at here, my y values are 36, 25, 16, so it's going down, 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 down. Oh, right at 2 I have a 0. So that's one of my solutions. Do I keep on going down? Oh, now I'm at 3, 1, so I'm heading back up again. 4, 4, 5, 9. So as you can see, class, it's like going at this, you know, 36, 25, 16, 9, 4, 1, 0. And then once I get to right here, I'm hopping back up again at 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. So this is telling me that I only have 1 0 when x equals 2. When x equals 2, y is 0. So what does that tell you, class? X equals a positive 2. Now, shouldn't I always, always, always get 2 answers? Hopefully you see that. So what does that mean this answer is? It means that x equals 2 is a double root. What does a double root mean? A double root, as a review, I guess, a double root is where the graph comes down and it doesn't cross the x-axis. It comes down, and then it hits the x-axis, doesn't pass through it, and goes back up again. So this one is a double root because it doesn't pass through the x-axis. All it does is it hits the x-axis. So we have a double root on that one. And the last one, x squared minus 4x plus 5 equals 0. Let's put that into our graphing calculator. X squared plus 4x? No, minus 4x. Minus 4x plus 5. Graph. Estimating here, class, does this one appear to cross the x-axis at all? To my eyes, it does not. It looks like there's a little bit of a gap right here. So this one apparently doesn't cross the x-axis at all, which is possible. That's very likely. Let's go to our table just to see. Our table. Okay, it starts very high, so 50, it's getting lower, 37, 26, 17, 10, 5, 2. It gets lower and lower, 1, oh, and then it pops back up again. So now we're getting higher and higher and higher and higher. So as you can see, I never get a 0 over here. That's never, ever, 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 ever going to happen on this function. So for our answer, we put, there are no real roots. What we're going to get to later is that x squared, I should always get 2 answers. So I should get 2 roots. However, these are going to be 2 imaginary roots. They're not going to be real roots. So for now, for today's lesson, all I need you to write is that there are no real roots. Don't put no solution or don't put the empty set, because there are 2 answers. Because x squared, we know that we're going to get 2 zeros. They're just not real. They are imaginary roots. So for now, just put down no real roots. All right. Let me know if you have any questions on that. We're going to have another video talk about writing a quadratic equation in standard form. But I'm going to stop right here and record another video lesson to kind of break up those 2. So let me know if you have any questions.